Hi everyone, Secretary David Toland here, and I am excited to share some big news with you today. Earlier this year, Governor Kelly announced the Department of Commerce would undertake an initiative to research and analyze the Kansas economy and deliver a comprehensive economic development blueprint for the state, one with innovative strategies for business recruitment and retention. We officially kicked off this process earlier this week and have selected McKinsey & Company to help us with research and analyses to provide a strong fact base for our planning. Before we jump into the process itself, I want to provide some background on why we're undertaking this process to begin with. The last time the state of Kansas established a comprehensive plan for economic development was in 1986 with the Redwood-Crider Report. That report helped us gather data, evaluate strategic opportunities for growth, and set the state on course to be a leader in economic development through the creation of many new innovative approaches. The report led to significant investments in manufacturing and agriculture, innovations in bioscience and technology, the creation of multiple tools to help recruit and retain Kansas businesses, and the creation of the Department of Commerce itself. We were truly ahead of the curve. In fact, other states were modeling their own economic development strategies based on what had been developed for Kansas. But that was more than 30 years ago, and the world today, in many ways, is vastly different than it was in 1986. In 1986, Ronald Reagan was president. Gas was 86 cents a gallon. $1 in 1986 is the equivalent of about $2.34 today. Wi-Fi wouldn't be released to consumers until 1997. There was no streaming music, no Apple Watches, no social media, no Google. The point is, things were different in 1986, and what was innovative then is not necessarily innovative now. And despite a strong start in the 80s and well into the 90s, Kansas has fallen behind somewhat. Our lack of innovative approaches as it relates to the economy is evidenced in our state's lagging in key economic indicators such as GDP growth, population growth, and labor participation. Both Governor Kelly and I believe Kansas needs an aggressive new plan to restore the state's place as a leader in economic growth. To be competitive in today's global economy, we must identify and pursue new, nimble economic development best practices. It's past time that we developed a thoughtful, strategic plan to guide Kansas forward, and that is exactly what we're doing. Over the next 10 weeks, a steering committee made up of several members of Commerce staff, along with representatives from the Kansas business community, Team Kansas, the Greater Wichita Partnership, and the Western Kansas Rural Economic Development Alliance, or CREDA, will guide the creation of a new economic development roadmap for the state of Kansas. We're calling this roadmap our Framework for Growth. There will be 3 phases to developing our framework for growth, the first of which is assessment and benchmarking. We'll define our vision and aspirations. We'll take an honest look at where Kansas stands as it relates to our economic health and how well we're equipped to grow our economy and our ability to recruit new businesses to the state, help existing businesses thrive and expand, and develop an appropriate talent pipeline for industry. We'll look introspectively, but we will also compare Kansas to other states in our region and those with whom we compete for jobs and talent. The second phase will focus on using the data we collect in Phase 1 to develop a set of recommendations and best practices. These will be specific, actionable strategies that will allow us to attract and retain businesses, foster innovation in the public and private sectors, and determine the areas where our investments will achieve the most success. Implementation planning is the third phase. As a team, we will design the governance, processes, and accountability to guide the implementation of the recommendations that come out of Phase 2 of planning. Throughout the development of the Framework for Growth, we will be engaging various stakeholder groups to ensure broad representation. We'll engage members of the Kelly administration and the legislature. We'll engage businesses, industry associations, and local economic development organizations to understand their unique challenges. We'll talk with site selectors and companies outside of Kansas to get a better idea of how they evaluate and make decisions on where to establish a footprint. We'll engage with higher ed to make sure that we've got best practices and that we're thinking about educational connections. We want to make sure that when we've completed this process, we have a strategy that is relevant and advantageous to all Kansans, not just a select few. What we do in the coming weeks and months will help shape the future of economic development in Kansas for the next decade. We're at a critical yet exciting juncture for our state, and I look forward to sharing our progress with all of you throughout this strategic planning process. So until next time, thanks very much.